There's a strange moment that comes after things finally calm down. The panic is gone, the systems are working, discipline has settled into routine, and instead of relief, a new question quietly appears. What am I actually building toward now? When everything was chaotic, the goal was obvious. Survive, stabilize, stop the bleeding. But once that phase passes, direction becomes less obvious. Not because you're lost, but because you're no longer being pushed by urgency. This episode isn't about goals, it's about orientation. For a long time, survival was the metric. If bills were paid, that was a win. If spending didn't spiral, that was progress. If we made it to the next month without stress, that was success. And that phase matters. You don't skip it. But eventually, survival stops being enough. Not because you're ungrateful, but because your life is no longer defined by reaction. When stability shows up, it creates space, and space demands direction. Lately, I've noticed that our financial decisions feel different. We're no longer reacting to problems, we're preparing for something ahead. For the first time, we're in a position to start saving for a home of our own. Not tomorrow, not impulsively, but deliberately. That doesn't mean we're there. It means we're finally building towards something long-term. And that shift matters more than the destination, because preparation requires patience. Reaction does not. Here's the irony. When things were difficult, patience wasn't the challenge. You were just trying to survive. Now that things are calm, patience becomes the work. Progress feels slow. The numbers move, but not dramatically. There are days where it feels like nothing is happening, and that's uncomfortable. Because you can see where you want to go, you just can't get there all at once. Waiting while doing the right things is harder than scrambling in chaos. There's no adrenaline, no urgency, just quiet consistency. This is where a subtle temptation shows up. The temptation to rush, to make something happen, to skip steps because you're tired of waiting. Not because you're reckless, but because patience feels unproductive. But forcing progress rarely produces stability. It usually produces pressure, and pressure has a way of undoing good work. This is where faith plays a different role, not as a promise of outcomes, not as a shortcut, but as permission to wait. I remind myself often that timing matters, that obedience doesn't always come with clarity, and that forcing things early can cost more than waiting faithfully. Faith doesn't tell me exactly where I'll end up. It tells me how to wait without panic, how to move forward without demanding certainty. And that's grounding. Right now, forward doesn't mean dramatic change. It means saving consistently, refining habits, protecting margin, staying patient even when progress feels slow. This phase doesn't look impressive, but it's honest. And honesty builds foundations that last. It's easy to underestimate this season, because there's no visible struggle, no crisis to overcome, no story-worthy turning point. But this is where long-term outcomes are decided, not in the breakthrough moments, but in the quiet ones, where you choose not to rush, not to force, not to compare. Direction is shaped here. If you're in a calm phase right now, don't rush through it. Stability is not the end goal. It's the platform. Build patiently, prepare deliberately, and trust that slow progress still counts. I'm JP, and I'll see you in the next one.